Alien Command stopped laughing once human gravity data was reviewed. Even at this small station, humans had grown used to living in orbit, far from the green fields and wide skies of Earth. Yet Nathan never lost the sense of wonder. Space was quiet, empty, and alive all at once. Claire Benson, standing a few feet away, adjusted the controls on a small device that measured gravitational forces. She was young, just 26, but already known for her skill with orbital mechanics. Her long brown hair was tied back, and her eyes sparkled with curiosity. "Are you sure the Voron will even look at this data?" Nathan asked. He pointed at the display. "They've been laughing at Earth's gravity for months. They think it is too weak to do anything interesting in space." Claire smiled faintly. "That's why it will be interesting. They never expect humans to do more than survive. They don't know how we think." The Voron were watching. Nathan knew it. Every message humans sent into deep space was being picked up by alien eyes and ears. The Voron were tall, multi-limbed creatures with shiny skin that seemed to shift colors in the light. Their culture valued strength, precision, and perfection in science, yet they had a habit of mocking anything human. And right now, they were mocking humans with full confidence. On the Voron command vessel, Commander Kirak leaned over the holographic table, his 4 hands brushing through glowing projections of data. Beside him, Science Officer Zinthal tilted her head, watching the human information scroll across the screen. "Look at this," Kirak said, his voice a mix of amusement and disbelief. "Earth gravity, 3.62 meters per second squared." Zinthal made a clicking sound that humans would have considered laughter. "Pathetic. They claim to navigate space with this." The other officers joined in, their voices echoing like strange chimes. Laughter filled the command room, a sound that was meant to hurt, to humiliate, yet it did not reach Nathan or Claire in any real way. They could only sense it in the subtle patterns of communication they had intercepted. Back at the human station, Nathan shook his head. "They think they are so clever. They think humans are weak, but they don't understand us at all, not even a little." Claire adjusted a small thruster on the experimental craft they had been preparing. "They're going to see soon enough." Nathan paused and looked at her, raising an eyebrow. "You really think the Voron will come to watch our little test?" Claire nodded. "They are curious." "They always are. They can't resist looking at what humans do, and when they see it, well, that will be the moment they stop laughing." Nathan smiled faintly, but inside he felt a mix of excitement and nervousness. Humans had survived in space for decades, yet the Voron had never taken them seriously. They assumed humans were slow, limited by weak gravity, and technologically primitive. Nathan and Claire knew differently. The days passed slowly as they prepared. Every calculation was checked, every simulation run a dozen times. They had to make sure their experiment worked perfectly. Every move of the human craft had to be precise. Humans were about to challenge assumptions that stretched across the galaxy. Nathan walked along the station corridor, passing other scientists who worked quietly in their labs. Lieutenant Ryan Scott, the station's security officer, caught up with him. "You look tense," Ryan said. "Nervous about the Voron?" Nathan nodded. "It's more than that. They think humans are simple. They mock our gravity, our ships, everything about Earth. I don't want us to make a mistake." Ryan smiled, a faint, reassuring smile. "That's why we have you and Claire. You'll prove them wrong, and don't worry. If anything goes wrong, I've got your back." Later that night, Nathan and Claire stayed in the control room, reviewing the latest data. Outside the station, the blackness of space stretched endlessly, dotted with tiny, distant stars. Nathan leaned back in his chair and rubbed his eyes. "I can't believe how little they understand us," he muttered. "They see gravity as a limitation, they see Earth as weak, but they don't realize how clever humans can be. We adapt, we improvise. We use what we have in ways they can't even imagine." Claire smiled. "That's exactly why they'll be shocked. We're going to show them that strength isn't everything. Intelligence, planning, and understanding physics can beat raw power every time." Meanwhile, across countless light years, the Voron command continued their amusement. Zinthal zoomed in on a holographic image of Earth's gravitational data, her multi-jointed fingers tracing lines of numbers. "It's almost funny," she said. "Such a tiny planet, such a weak pull." "They claim they can fight in space like this." Kirak leaned back, folding 2 of his hands over his chest. "Perhaps it is amusing, but curiosity grows even when one mocks. I want to see what these humans will do next." The humans, of course, had no way of knowing that Kirak was watching with genuine interest. The Vorin laughed, yes, but there was a small seed of concern forming, buried beneath arrogance. Humans had a way of surprising even the most confident alien species. Nathan and Claire prepared the small experimental craft for the first test run. It was sleek and compact, designed to take advantage of Earth's unique gravity in space. Every thruster, every sensor, and every computer program was fine-tuned. "Ready?" Nathan asked, checking the final systems. Claire nodded, her fingers flying across the control panel. "All set. Let's show them something they'll never forget." The craft lifted from the docking bay, moving with surprising speed. Its trajectory was calculated perfectly to exploit Earth's gravity, something the Vorin would never expect. Nathan's fingers danced across the controls, adjusting acceleration, spinning the craft, and manipulating momentum. Claire watched the monitors, noting every turn, every boost of speed. "They're going to think we're failing," she said quietly. "But just wait. When the patterns stabilize, they'll realize what's happening." And so, in the distant Vorin command room, officers leaned closer to their screens. Their laughter had not stopped entirely, but a flicker of confusion passed over their faces as the human craft executed movements that seemed impossible. The trajectory curves, the flips, the precise accelerations, all carefully calculated, all relying on the subtle nuances of Earth gravity, confounded them. Zinthal clicked her mandibles in surprise. This can't be correct." "Our sensors say they are defying what gravity should allow." Kirak's 4 eyes narrowed. "They are not defying gravity. They are using it. They understand it in ways we cannot predict. This is remarkable." Back on the human station, Nathan and Claire barely allowed themselves to breathe. They had not only proven the craft worked, but they had demonstrated something more. Humans could think differently. Humans could adapt. Humans could take what seemed like a weakness and turn it into strength. The Vorin continued to study the data, their previous laughter dying in the room. Officers whispered to each other, their long limbs gesturing frantically. Commander Kirak remained silent for a moment, staring at the displays. Nathan leaned over Claire's shoulder. "Do you see that?" he whispered. Claire nodded, barely able to believe her eyes. "They're shocked. They actually have no idea how to respond." Nathan smiled. "This is just the beginning. If they think humans are weak, we're about to rewrite their entire perspective." Ryan, watching from the control room, shook his head with a grin. "It's amazing how little they understand us. And yet here we are, showing them exactly what humans can do." As the test concluded, the craft returned to the station. Nathan, Claire, and Ryan exchanged quiet smiles. They had achieved what no human had ever done in the eyes of the Vorin. They had made an alien command stop laughing at Earth. In the quiet aftermath, Nathan looked out at the endless black sky, the tiny blue planet below. Earth, with its weak gravity and unassuming orbit, had proven itself as a place of ingenuity. And humans, standing on the edge of space, were ready to show the galaxy what they were truly capable of. The Vorin, meanwhile, sat in stunned silence. Commander Kirak tapped his claws on the holographic table, thinking carefully. "Perhaps it is time to reconsider humans. Perhaps we have underestimated them for far too long." And somewhere in that vast universe, Nathan and Claire smiled, knowing that the first spark of respect had begun. Nathan Hill and Claire Benson sat in the small briefing room of the Human Research Station. Outside, the dark expanse of space stretched endlessly, dotted with tiny, distant stars. Nathan rubbed his eyes, thinking about the events of the past days. The Vorin had watched the first test, and for the first time, humans had made them pause and think. Claire leaned over the display table, scrolling through the recorded maneuvers of the experimental craft. "They're still reviewing our data," she said quietly. "I can see it in the intercepted messages. They don't understand what we did yet." Nathan nodded. "They laughed at us for months. Now they're silent. That means we're on the right track, but silence is dangerous. It can mean surprise, or it can mean planning an attack. We need to be ready for anything." Ryan Scott, the station's security officer, entered the room. "You two are tense," he said, folding his arms. "I get it. You proved something incredible, but the Vorin, they don't play fair. We need to be careful." Nathan shook his head. "This isn't about fighting. It's about showing them what humans can do. We're not trying to start a war." "Just prove that Earth isn't weak," Claire smiled. "Exactly, and there's more we can do. The first test was only the beginning. We can push further, show them that humans understand gravity in ways no alien fleet has ever imagined. Nathan leaned back, thinking. The question is how. We need a demonstration they can't ignore, something that will make them rethink everything about humans. Claire's eyes lit up. I have an idea, a larger craft, one that uses multiple thrusters, spins, and rapid acceleration bursts. We can calculate every move to exploit Earth's gravity. It will look impossible to them, but it will be precise. Ryan whistled softly. That sounds complicated. Are we sure it's safe? Nathan smiled faintly. If we're careful, yes, but it will take time to build and test. The Vorin are watching, but they won't expect this. They think they understand humans. That's their mistake. Meanwhile, far across the galaxy, Commander Kirak and Science Officer Zinthal of the Vorin were deep in discussion. The alien officers had gathered in the command room, staring at the human data once again. This is unlike anything we have seen, Zinthal said, her voice low and clicking. Their movements are precise. They use gravity in ways our calculations did not predict. Kirak tapped his claws on the table. They are clever, far too clever for creatures we considered weak. It is unsettling. They may be unpredictable, which is dangerous in any engagement. Zinthal tilted her head. We should send observers, study their craft more closely. They may be a threat we cannot ignore. Kirak hesitated. Or they may be a species worth learning from. Humans are unusual, but I do not fully trust them. Observation only. We must understand their methods before acting. Back at the human station, Nathan and Claire began designing the larger craft. Every panel, thruster, and sensor was carefully planned. The craft was small enough to maneuver quickly, but powerful enough to perform complex movements. Claire tapped on the screen. If we angle these thrusters here, we can spin the craft while accelerating forward. Then we can use gravity to increase speed without adding fuel. The Vorin won't understand how we calculate it so quickly. Nathan nodded. Yes, they see gravity as a limitation. We see it as a tool. That difference will be our advantage. Ryan looked over the plans. I still worry about them watching. The Vorin could intercept this and I don't know, attack. Nathan shook his head. They can watch all they want, but they can't predict the calculations. Not yet. That's the human advantage. Our mind thinks in ways they cannot. Days turned into weeks as the craft was built and tested in small simulations. Nathan and Claire spent long hours running calculations, adjusting thrusters, and checking every possible outcome. Ryan kept the station secure, making sure no outside interference occurred. Finally, the day came for the first real test of the larger craft. Nathan, Claire, and Ryan suited up and moved to the launch bay. The craft gleamed under the station lights, its thrusters humming softly. Claire checked the controls one last time. Ready? Nathan nodded. Let us show them what humans can do. The craft lifted smoothly from the docking bay, gliding into the emptiness of space. Nathan took control, his hands steady on the controls. Claire monitored the thrusters, while Ryan watched the displays. The craft performed a series of spins and flips, moving faster than anyone could expect. It accelerated suddenly, using gravity to pull itself along invisible curves. Every movement was precise, calculated, and beautiful in its simplicity. Meanwhile, across light years, the Vorin command vessel intercepted the live feed. Officers leaned forward, their usual confidence replaced with shock. What is it doing? One officer asked. Kirak remained silent for a moment, his eyes narrowing. It is using gravity, precisely, faster than any species we have studied. This is impressive. Zinthal clicked her mandibles nervously. They defy expectations at every turn. We cannot predict them. Our calculations are useless against these movements. The humans continued their maneuvers, executing a series of flips and accelerations that made it clear they were not just surviving, they were mastering the environment. Nathan adjusted the thrusters, spinning the craft in a way that made it appear almost impossible to move. Claire leaned toward Nathan. They're watching. I can feel it. The Vorin are trying to understand, but they can't. Nathan nodded. Good, let them try. Every second they study, the more they realize they don't know humans at all. The craft made a sudden dive, pulling sharply toward a nearby asteroid. Using gravity, it curved around the rock and shot forward, faster than sensors should allow. The Vorin officers gasped as the craft disappeared from one view and reappeared in another. Kirak's voice was low, almost a growl. This is not simple luck. This is skill, intelligence, and planning. They are dangerous, but in a way I did not expect. Back on the human station, Nathan brought the craft to a stop near the docking bay. He exhaled slowly, smiling. "That went better than I expected," Claire grinned. "The Vorin won't know what hit them. They thought humans were weak. Now they see we can think, plan, and act faster than they imagined." Ryan shook his head in disbelief. "It's amazing. They've been mocking us for years, and we just showed them we're more than they thought." Nathan looked at the display showing the craft's recorded maneuvers. "This is only the beginning. We have to continue. Every move we make now will teach them that humans are not predictable, and that is a power they cannot take lightly." Days passed as the Vorin command analyzed the humans' test. The laughter that had filled their vessel was gone, replaced with whispers, confusion, and careful observation. Officers argued quietly, trying to understand the calculations and movements of the craft. Kirak paced slowly, his four limbs moving with measured steps. "They are unlike any species we have encountered. They do not rely on brute strength. They use intelligence and planning in ways that challenge our understanding." Zinthal tilted her head, clicking nervously. "Their gravity data is simple, yet their application is extraordinary. We may have underestimated them entirely." Back at the human station, Nathan, Claire, and Ryan continued their work, now more confident than ever. They planned new maneuvers, even more complex than before. The humans had proven that Earth's gravity, once considered a weakness, could become a tool for advantage. Nathan leaned back in his chair, watching the stars. "We've made them stop laughing, but now we have to make sure they respect us, and that means planning carefully." "Every move counts," Claire smiled faintly, "and one day we'll show them that humans are not just clever, they are unstoppable when they work together." Ryan shook his head with a small grin. "I don't know if I like the idea of being unstoppable, but I like the idea of proving them wrong." Nathan chuckled. "It's not about fighting, Ryan. It's about showing them that humans can think differently. That intelligence, strategy, and creativity matter as much as raw power. And the Vorin, they have no idea how far we can go." The humans spent the next week refining their plans, running simulations, and making sure every move of the craft was perfect. They knew the Vorin were watching, analyzing, and waiting. But Nathan, Claire, and Ryan also knew one thing: humans could turn weaknesses into strength, limits into opportunities, and expectations into surprises. Across light years, the Vorin command continued to study the humans. Kirak tapped his claws on the table again. "We must prepare for the possibility that humans are unlike anything we have faced. They may not be strong in the way we understand strength, but their mind is a weapon we cannot ignore." Zinthal clicked softly. "And yet they seem harmless. They do not attack. They only demonstrate. This is puzzling." Kirak's eyes narrowed. "That is exactly what makes them dangerous. They do not act like other species, and the more we study, the more we realize we know very little about them." Back on the human station, Nathan, Claire, and Ryan quietly celebrated their success. They had achieved more than just a technical victory. They had changed the perception of humanity across the galaxy, at least in one alien fleet. Nathan looked at the stars, a sense of quiet satisfaction filling him. "The Vorin laughed at us once. Now they are thinking. And thinking is the first step to respect." Claire nodded. "And soon they will realize that humans are not just clever, we are unpredictable, and that makes us stronger than they can imagine." Ryan smiled. "I just hope they don't try to test us too soon." Nathan laughed softly. "If they do, we'll be ready. We always are." And somewhere far away, in a command room on a massive alien vessel, Commander Kirak stared at the human data again, more seriously than ever. The first spark of worry and respect had begun. Humans were not weak. Humans were clever, resourceful, and capable of things no one had imagined. The galaxy was about to notice. Nathan Hill sat in the control room of the human research station, staring at the monitors. The larger craft they had been building for weeks was now ready for its first full demonstration. Outside the station, stars glimmered faintly, and the earth below looked like a tiny blue marble in the void. Nathan could feel his heart beating faster. This demonstration had to be perfect. Claire Benson checked the final systems on the craft. "All thrusters calibrated, gravity calculations confirmed, sensors are online, the program is ready." Nathan nodded. "Good, we have to make this perfect. The Vorin are watching, and they are paying attention now. This is our chance to show them what humans can really do." Ryan Scott, the security officer, leaned against the console. "I still do like them watching us, but I trust you too." Just make sure we don't give them an excuse to think we're aggressive. Nathan smiled faintly. This isn't about aggression, it's about intelligence. They need to see humans can use skill and thinking, not just brute force. The larger craft lifted smoothly from the docking bay. Its sleek body reflected the station lights as it glided into space. Nathan's hands moved steadily over the controls, adjusting thrusters, checking sensors, and monitoring gravity effects. Claire watched closely. We'll start with the basic maneuvers. Spins, flips, acceleration bursts. Then we'll move to the more complex gravity curves. If they watch carefully, they will see that every move is calculated. Nothing is random. Nathan nodded. Good, let's begin. The craft moved forward and spun once, twice, then executed a perfect flip in zero gravity. It shot upward using a combination of thrusters and gravity-assisted momentum. Every movement was precise, every acceleration measured. Meanwhile, far away, Commander Kirak and Science Officer Zinthal of the Vorin were watching through the live feed. Their usual confidence was gone. Officers leaned over the displays, murmuring to each other in clicks and hums. What is it doing?" Zinthal whispered. "It accelerates, then flips, then uses gravity to spin again. It is not following any known pattern." Kirak tapped his claws on the table. "It is precise. Every movement is calculated. They are not lucky. They are skilled, very skilled. Perhaps more than any species we have faced." Back on the human station, Nathan guided the craft through a series of loops around a nearby asteroid. The gravity of the asteroid pulled the craft in ways that seemed impossible, yet every movement had been planned. Claire monitored the thrusters, adjusting them as necessary, while Ryan watched the sensors. "They're watching closely," Claire said quietly. "The Vorin will try to understand, but they won't be able to. This is too fast, too precise for them to predict." Nathan smiled. "Good. Let them try. Every second they analyze, the more they realize humans are different. That difference is our strength." The craft then performed a rapid spin, changing direction midair and accelerating toward a cluster of small rocks. Using gravity and momentum, it curved around them smoothly, appearing almost as if it had teleported. The Vorin officers gasped. Kirak's voice was low, almost a growl. "This is impossible. Our sensors say it cannot move like this, yet it does. They are using gravity." "Intelligently." Zinthal tilted her head, clicking nervously. "They calculate every movement faster than our systems can analyze. It is remarkable. Humans are unpredictable, dangerous, but in a new way." Nathan guided the craft through a sudden dive, moving straight toward the station and then pulling upward at the last moment. The thrusters burned brightly, and the craft shot upward in a perfect arc, returning to a safe distance from the station. "Perfect," Nathan said, exhaling slowly. "Every move matched the calculations. They won't understand how we did it, but they will see the results." Claire smiled faintly. "They'll start to question everything they thought about humans, about Earth. About our ability to survive in space." Ryan shook his head in disbelief. "I never thought I'd see the day when aliens like the Vorin would actually pause to watch humans in action, and they are learning fast." Across light years, the Vorin command room was quiet, except for the soft hum of equipment. Officers stared at the monitors, unable to hide their confusion. Commander Kirak's 4 eyes glimmered with unease. "They are not weak," he said finally. "They are clever. Far more clever than we anticipated. Our calculations underestimated them. Our assumptions about Earth were wrong." Zinthal clicked softly. "We mocked their gravity, their technology, their intelligence. Now we do not know how to respond. They are different, unpredictable." Kirak nodded slowly. "Observation only. Do not engage. Do not underestimate them again. They may be dangerous, but in ways we did not expect, and we cannot fight what we do not understand." Back at the human station, Nathan guided the craft through a new set of maneuvers. This time, he introduced a complex sequence of spins, flips, and gravity-assisted accelerations that would have been impossible under traditional alien calculations. Every movement relied on Earth's unique gravitational constant, something the Vorin had laughed at before. "They think gravity is a weakness," Nathan muttered. "We know it is a tool, and that tool makes us stronger than they can imagine." Claire adjusted the thrusters, her fingers moving quickly. "We're showing them humans can think differently. That we can use limitations to our advantage. That is something they never considered." Ryan watched the craft loop around a small asteroid, then shoot straight upward with a sudden burst of speed. "They're going to be stunned. I've never seen anything like this." The craft then executed the final maneuver, a rapid spiral that curved around multiple asteroids and returned to the station. Nathan guided it back into the docking bay smoothly, shutting down the thrusters. "All systems normal," he said. "Craft secured." Claire leaned back, smiling. "They saw it, every move. They couldn't predict a single one." Ryan shook his head. "I don't think they even understand what they saw. The Vorin are probably scrambling to figure it out." Across the galaxy, the Vorin command was in chaos. Officers whispered rapidly, their long limbs gesturing nervously. Kirak's eyes narrowed. "They are not like any species we have faced," he said. "They do not fight like others. They do not rely on strength. They rely on intelligence, precision, and planning. They are formidable in ways we did not expect." Zinthal tilted her head. "Their gravity is weak, yet they use it better than we use ours. Our calculations are useless against their methods, and they do not attack. They only demonstrate. That is strange." Kirak tapped his claws on the table thoughtfully. "That is exactly why humans are dangerous. They are unpredictable, clever, and precise. They may not be strong in the way we understand strength, but they are strong in ways we cannot measure." Back on the human station, Nathan, Claire, and Ryan quietly celebrated their success. They had done more than test a craft. They had challenged an entire alien fleet's assumptions about humanity. Nathan looked out the station window, the blackness of space stretching endlessly. "They laughed at us before," he said quietly. "Now they are thinking. That thinking is the first step toward respect." Claire nodded. "And soon they'll realize that humans are not just clever. We are adaptable, resourceful, and capable of turning any weakness into strength. That's what makes us unpredictable and powerful." Ryan smiled. "I just hope they don't try to test us too soon. I like proving them wrong, but I'd rather not fight yet." Nathan chuckled softly. "We don't have to fight. We just have to show them that humans think differently. And that difference is our power." Over the next few days, the Vorin continued to study the humans' maneuvers. Their previous arrogance had vanished, replaced by careful observation and growing respect. Commander Kirak made sure no action was taken, but he kept close watch. Humans were unlike anything they had ever encountered. Nathan and Claire used the time to plan the next demonstration. It would be even more complex, showing not only the craft's abilities, but also the humans' understanding of physics, gravity, and strategy. The Vorin would not be able to ignore it. Nathan leaned back in his chair, thinking. "The first test was only the beginning. Next, we push further. They need to see that humans are not weak, that Earth's gravity is not a limitation. That humans can use intelligence and planning to do what no other species can." Claire smiled faintly. "And one day, they will not just respect us, they will fear underestimating humans, and that is when they will truly understand what Earth is capable of." Ryan shook his head with a small grin. "I don't know if I like the idea of humans being feared, but I do like proving them wrong." Nathan laughed softly. "It's not about fear, it's about respect. They laughed at us before, now they are thinking. And thinking is the first step to understanding." Far away, Commander Kirak sat quietly, staring at the human data once again. The first spark of real respect had begun, and a quiet sense of unease had entered the command room. Humans were not weak. Humans were clever, resourceful, and capable of things no one had imagined. The galaxy was beginning to take notice. Nathan Hill sat in the control room, his eyes fixed on the monitor displaying the data from the previous human craft maneuvers. He knew the Vorin were studying every detail of what they had done. Their silence after the demonstration was louder than any laughter, and Nathan understood its meaning. The Vorin were no longer amused, they were concerned. Claire Benson leaned over the console, tapping numbers into the system. "They're reviewing every movement we made," she said. "Our calculations, our thruster timings, every spin, flip, and acceleration burst. They're trying to understand it all." Nathan nodded. "And they won't. That's the point. They assume their technology and intellect make them superior, but humans think differently. That difference is our advantage." Ryan Scott, standing near the exit, shook his head in disbelief. "I can't believe it. We've been building these crafts for months, and now some alien fleet is actually taking us seriously. They thought Earth was weak. They thought humans were simple. And now," Nathan smiled faintly, "now they're realizing they were wrong, but this is only the start. We have to make sure they don't underestimate us again." Across the galaxy, Commander Kirak sat in the Vorin command room, his multiple eyes fixed on the displays. Officers whispered nervously, their long limbs gesturing quickly as they analyzed the human data. "These movements are precise," Kirak said quietly. "Every calculation matches the trajectory. They are not guessing. They are predicting and adjusting in ways we cannot. Our previous assumptions about humans were foolish." Science officer Zinthal tilted her head, clicking softly. "They do not rely on brute strength. They use gravity, intelligence, and timing, and they do it better than any species we have studied. Their understanding, it is remarkable." Kirak tapped his claws on the table. "They are unpredictable. Dangerous, yes, but in a way we cannot measure with our standard calculations. We must rethink our strategy. We cannot ignore their skill or their creativity." Back at the human station, Nathan and Claire worked quietly on the next demonstration. They planned something more complex, a sequence of maneuvers that would show not only the craft's ability but also humans' superior understanding of gravity and momentum. "This one has to be flawless," Nathan said. "We're not just showing skill, we're showing intelligence." Planning, thinking ahead, the Vorin will see that humans can turn even a weakness into an advantage. Claire nodded. "I've adjusted the thrusters for rapid acceleration bursts and added gravity-assisted loops. Every movement will be calculated." "They won't be able to predict a single one." Ryan shook his head, still uneasy. "I just hope they don't misinterpret it. I don't want them thinking we're aggressive. We're showing skill, not attacking." Nathan smiled faintly. "They will understand, Ryan. Or they will be forced to think, and thinking is the first step to respect." The day of the demonstration arrived. The larger craft lifted smoothly from the station, its sleek body reflecting the soft lights of the control room. Nathan guided it into space, his hands steady on the controls. Claire monitored the thrusters, adjusting the timing precisely, while Ryan watched the sensors, ready for any unexpected issue. The craft began with a series of spins and flips, moving quickly but smoothly. It accelerated toward a small asteroid, then curved around it in a perfect arc using gravity. Every movement was precise, every trajectory calculated to demonstrate humans' mastery of their environment. Far away, the Vorin command watched, silent at first. The usual sounds of clicks and chatter were replaced by quiet attention. Kirak leaned forward, tapping his claws nervously on the table. "This is extraordinary," he said quietly. "Their precision is unmatched. They are using gravity not as a limit, but as a tool. And their planning, it is far beyond what we expected." Zinthal tilted her head. "Our sensors cannot keep up. We cannot predict the trajectory. Every maneuver seems impossible according to our calculations, and yet they do it perfectly." Back on the human station, Nathan guided the craft through a series of rapid loops, flips, and spins that made it appear almost to vanish from one view and reappear in another. Claire's fingers flew over the controls, making subtle adjustments that ensured the craft remained within safe limits while performing movements no alien could anticipate. "They're watching," Claire said softly. "I can feel it. The Vorin are trying to understand, but they can't. Our calculations are too fast, too precise for them to predict." Nathan smiled. "Good. Every second they analyze is another second they realize humans are different. That difference is our strength." The craft then executed a sudden dive toward a cluster of small asteroids. Using gravity and momentum, it curved smoothly around the rocks and shot upward in a perfect arc. The Vorin officers gasped, their multi-limbed bodies stiff with surprise. Kirak's 4 eyes narrowed. "They are not lucky. This is skill, intelligence, and calculation combined." "Humans are formidable in a way we never expected." Zinthal clicked softly. "Their gravity is weak, yet they use it with precision. Our assumptions about strength and power do not apply here. They are dangerous, but in a new way." Back on the station, Nathan brought the craft to a stop near the docking bay. He shut down the thrusters and the craft settled safely. "Perfect," Nathan said, exhaling slowly. "Every movement matched the calculations." "They won't understand how we did it, but they will see the result." Claire smiled faintly. "They're going to start questioning everything they thought about humans, about Earth, about our ability in space." Ryan shook his head. "It's amazing. They've been mocking humans for years, and now they are forced to take us seriously. I can't believe it." Across the galaxy, the Vorin command was in chaos. Officers whispered urgently, trying to interpret the human maneuvers. Kirak's claws tapped rhythmically on the table as he considered their options. "They are not like any species we have faced," he said. "They do not fight like others. They rely on intelligence, precision, and adaptability. Our previous calculations were useless. Our assumptions about Earth were wrong. Zinthal tilted her head again. They are unpredictable. We do not know how far they can go, and they do not attack. They only demonstrate. That is unsettling. Kirak nodded slowly. That is exactly why humans are dangerous. They are not strong in the way we understand strength, but their mind is a weapon we cannot ignore. We must observe carefully. No engagement, only observation. Back at the human station, Nathan, Claire, and Ryan quietly celebrated their success. They had done more than test a craft. They had challenged an alien fleet's entire perception of humanity. Nathan looked out the station window at the endless blackness of space. They laughed at us once. Now they are thinking, and thinking is the first step toward respect. Claire nodded. And soon they'll see that humans are adaptable, resourceful, and capable of turning limitations into advantages. That's what makes us unpredictable and powerful. Ryan smiled. I just hope they don't test us too soon. I like proving them wrong, but I'd rather not fight yet. Nathan laughed softly. We don't have to fight. We only have to show them that humans think differently, and that difference is our power. Over the next few days, the Vorin continued to analyze the human data. Their confidence had vanished, replaced by careful study and growing respect. Commander Kirak made sure no rash action was taken. Humans were unlike anything they had ever seen. Nathan and Claire spent the same days refining plans for even more complex maneuvers. They wanted the next demonstration to show humans understanding of physics, strategy, and the ability to turn weakness into strength. Nathan leaned back in his chair, thinking. The first demonstration was only the beginning. Next, we show them humans are not weak, that Earth's gravity is not a limitation, and that intelligence can make us more powerful than anyone expected. Claire smiled faintly. And one day they will not just respect humans, they will never underestimate us again. That is when the galaxy will understand what Earth is capable of. Ryan shook his head with a small grin. I don't know if I like the idea of humans being feared, but I do like proving them wrong. Nathan laughed softly. It's not about fear, it's about respect. They laughed at us once. Now they are forced to think, and thinking is the first step to understanding. Commander Kirak, far away on the Vorin vessel, stared at the human data. For the first time, he felt a small spark of unease. Humans were clever, resourceful, and capable of things no one had imagined. And the realization was only beginning to take hold. The galaxy was beginning to notice. Nathan Hill, Claire Benson, and Ryan Scott stood in the control room, looking at the fully prepared human craft. This was the final demonstration, the one that would show the Vorin not just skill, but intelligence, strategy, and creativity. Nathan felt a mixture of excitement and calm determination. They had done the small tests. They had shown the Vorin that humans were clever. Now it was time to go further. Claire tapped the display, checking the final systems. Everything is ready, thrusters, sensors, gravity calculations, all set. Nathan nodded. This one has to be perfect. Every move, every acceleration, every curve has to show them humans are different. That difference is our power. Ryan shook his head. I hope they don't think this is aggression. We're showing skill, not attacking. Nathan smiled faintly. They'll see. Or they will be forced to think, and thinking is the first step toward respect. The craft lifted from the docking bay, smooth and quiet. Nathan guided it into open space where the stars stretched endlessly around them. Claire monitored the thrusters, making adjustments with precise timing, while Ryan watched the sensors for any sign of trouble. The craft began with spins, flips, and acceleration bursts. Every movement was deliberate, each one designed to show that humans could use gravity, momentum, and calculation in ways the Vorin could never predict. Far away, the Vorin command vessel watched. The officers were tense, whispering among themselves. Commander Kirak's multiple eyes focused on the feed, following every movement. They are extraordinary, Kirak said quietly. They are using gravity as a tool, not a limitation. Their intelligence is beyond what we expected. Science Officer Zinthal clicked softly. Their calculations are perfect. They are not lucky. Every move is intentional, and we cannot predict it. Humans are remarkable. Back at the human station, Nathan guided the craft through a series of complex maneuvers around an asteroid belt. The craft curved tightly, spun rapidly, and accelerated with perfect timing. Gravity pulled the craft in ways that would have made any other species fail, yet humans navigated flawlessly. They are watching, Claire said softly. The Vorin are trying to understand, but they can't. Every second they analyze, they realize humans are unpredictable. Nathan smiled. Good, let them try. Every second of confusion for them is respect earned for us. The craft then executed a daring sequence of flips and spirals through the asteroid field. It accelerated, slowed, and changed direction in ways that seemed impossible. Every movement was carefully calculated to demonstrate human skill and understanding. The Vorin officers gasped. Kirak's claws tapped rapidly on the table, his eyes narrowing. They are not weak, he said. They are clever, precise, and resourceful. Their understanding of gravity, timing, and momentum, it is extraordinary. We cannot measure it with our systems. We underestimated them. Zinthal tilted her head. They do not rely on brute force. They rely on intelligence, strategy, and planning, and they do it better than any species we have studied. We must respect them. Back on the station, Nathan brought the craft to a stop near the docking bay. He shut down the thrusters and guided it safely inside. Claire and Ryan exhaled, smiling faintly. That went perfectly, Claire said. They saw it all, every movement, every calculation. They couldn't predict a single one. Ryan shook his head. I don't think they even understand what they saw. They must be scrambling to figure it out. Nathan leaned back, looking out at the stars. They laughed at humans once, now they are thinking. And thinking is the first step toward respect. Across light years, the Vorin command vessel was quiet. Officers whispered, their movements nervous and measured. Commander Kirak stood silently, considering the implications. They are unlike any species we have faced, he said finally. They do not fight like others. They rely on intelligence, precision, and creativity. Our assumptions about humans were wrong, entirely wrong. Zinthal clicked softly. They are unpredictable. They do not attack, they demonstrate, and in doing so they show power greater than brute strength. That is unsettling. Kirak's eyes narrowed. That is exactly why humans are dangerous. They are not strong in the way we understand strength, but their mind is a weapon we cannot ignore. We must observe carefully. No engagement, only observation. Back at the human station, Nathan, Claire, and Ryan quietly celebrated their achievement. They had not only shown the craft's capabilities, but also demonstrated human ingenuity, strategy, and intelligence to an entire alien fleet. Nathan looked out the window at the tiny blue planet below. They laughed at us once. Now they are forced to think. That thinking is respect earned, and respect is stronger than any weapon. Claire smiled faintly. And soon they will understand humans are not just clever. We are resourceful, adaptable, and capable of using any situation to our advantage. That makes us unpredictable and powerful, Ryan grinned. I still hope they don't test us too soon. I like proving them wrong, but I'd rather not fight yet. Nathan chuckled softly. We don't need to fight. Humans show power through thinking, through planning. Through turning weakness into strength. That is our true weapon. Days passed, and the Vorin continued to study the humans' demonstrations. Their previous arrogance had vanished, replaced by careful observation and growing respect. Commander Kirak made sure no rash decisions were taken. Humans were unlike anything they had encountered before. Nathan and Claire used the time to refine their plans for future demonstrations, even more complex than before. Each plan showed the humans' mastery of gravity, precision, and strategy. The Vorin were forced to acknowledge that humans were not only capable, but also unpredictable in ways they could not anticipate. Nathan leaned back in his chair, thinking. The first test was only the beginning. Next, we show them humans are not weak, that Earth's gravity is not a limitation, and that intelligence can make us stronger than anyone expects. Claire smiled faintly. And one day they will not just respect humans, they will never underestimate us again. That is when the galaxy will understand what Earth is capable of. Ryan shook his head with a small grin. I don't know if I like humans being feared, but I do like proving them wrong. Nathan laughed softly. It's not about fear, it's about respect. They laughed at us once, now they think, and thinking is the first step to understanding. Far away, Commander Kirak stared at the human data. For the first time, he felt real respect for a species he had once mocked. Humans were clever, resourceful, and capable of things no one had imagined. Their potential was limitless, and the Vorin would never underestimate them again. Perhaps, Kirak said quietly, we have much to learn from them. And perhaps it is time to approach humans differently, not with laughter but with caution and respect. Back on the station, Nathan, Claire, and Ryan watched the stars, knowing they had changed the perception of humans across the galaxy. Earth, with its weak gravity and unassuming orbit, had proven itself as a place of ingenuity and cleverness. Humans, standing at the edge of space, had shown that intelligence, planning, and adaptability could inspire awe even in the most confident alien species. Nathan smiled faintly. We've shown them what humans can do, but this is only the beginning. One day, the galaxy will understand Earth's true strength. Claire nodded. And when that day comes, humans will not just survive, they will lead not through power alone, but through intelligence, courage, and creativity. That is the real strength of our species. Ryan laughed softly. I guess we've earned their respect, and maybe, just maybe, we've started something bigger than any of us imagined. Nathan looked out at the stars, his heart filled with quiet determination. We've started a new chapter for humanity. One where no alien will ever think of us as weak. One where our intelligence, our planning, and our courage are our greatest weapons. And that is how humans will shine in the galaxy. And somewhere far away, Commander Kirak, Zinthal, and the rest of the Vorin fleet sat in quiet awe. The humans had stopped their laughter, and in its place grew the first seeds of respect. The galaxy would never underestimate Earth again. The stars stretched endlessly, the blue planet below a tiny beacon of ingenuity. And humans, for the first time in history, had made an entire alien command pause, think, and respect them. Nathan, Claire, and Ryan knew this was only the start. But it was a start that would change everything. The galaxy had witnessed the first real proof. Humans were clever, unpredictable, and unstoppable when they used their minds to turn limits into power. And for the Vorin, the lesson was clear. Humanity was not a species to mock. Humanity was a species to respect, and perhaps one day to fear.